young men who are trying to get off drugs, who are trying to make that change, I begin to tell them about time slots. I begin to explain time slots in the week, during the week. You know, we don't try to make them stop doing drugs overnight, you know, but when we make substitutions, and we can go to church on Wednesday, Friday evening to Bible class, and then we go Sunday. You know, those are days that they don't want to be high going into that situation, and you have to pick those
changing everybody.
Exactly. You know, you don't want to go into church smelling like
Weed.
alcohol or weed, right? So
And
you
then
don't do
you
it that
started
day.
out earlier saying dark and light can't share the same.
Right, exactly.
You know.
So when we fill up those 3 days, we do, we work during the morning and BMS during the night on all the other 4 days. So in eventually, you know, the sneaking and smoking, the sneaking and drinking, gets exhausted. You know, the sneaking gets exhausted. So they just eventually start beginning to put it down slowly but surely.
Do you see them trying to calm themselves down, or do you see one of the misconceptions I had from looking at my father and my grandfather, I thought they just couldn't stop drinking. You know, I thought it was a choice they were making, and they were self-medicating.
Right, right.
Do you see the kids today are more trying to bring themselves down because of maybe some ADHD or some issues there, or they're trying to bring themselves up because of depression when they do drugs or alcohol?
Both.
Okay.
Both, actually. You know, at different times, for different reasons. It's always, if you have ever done drugs or done alcohol, it's always a reason to do it. If you put yourself on that downward slope, that's an avalanche. You know, an avalanche of excuses. You know, man, I just woke up, I need to, you know, pep myself up, you know, and then, man, I'm sleepy, I need to pep myself up, and then it's like I'm too hype, I need to slow myself down. I'm going into this radio interview, I need to, you know, slow myself,
Yeah.
I need to calm myself.
Yeah.
Or I'm finna go to work, I need to calm myself, and, you know, I'm driving, I'm a little bit, you know,
Anxious,
Exactly,
anxiety.
exactly.
Look, anxiety, people don't understand now. I still get migraines, but I get them after trials. I don't get it when I'm in the heat of it.
Right.
I'm good.
Right.
You know, I'm at war.
Right.
I'm more comfortable at war than I am at peace.
Me too.
See,
Me too.
exactly.
Man,
But when you
man,
sit there and have to think about
Right.
it, or did I mess up here, then that brain starts spinning. And I tell people all the time, it's 2 a.m. When you wake up wide awake at 2 a.m. and go, do I do this? Did I forget to do this? Or why didn't I do it this way?
My doctor told me that I have a slight case of bipolarism because I'm always thinking about the next move.
Yeah.
I'm always thinking about the next move. Even at 3 in the morning, I'm like, man, what I gotta do tomorrow morning? You know, I got to sign that check and do that and meet that person and do that. And, you know, it's kind of like, I thought to myself before my doctor explained it to me, I thought I had trained myself over time during my life to wake up every time a sound happened in my house. You know, I mean, like the floor could crack and my eyes are open. I'm like, man, I'm an ex-Marine. You know what I'm saying? I'm ready. Anything can happen. A horn blow outside, my eyes open immediately.
But with an alcoholic or addict in your family, you almost have to anticipate, okay, are they going to come in sober today?
Right.
Are they going to come in?
Oh, man.
And I think, without disagreeing with your
Right,
doctor,
I understand.
that's what I see is I take steps out. Okay, if Sherry says this, I'm going to say this. And I do it in court, but I do it all
I
the
got
time.
that diagnosis with the sober me.
Yeah.
The sober me
It's-
after all of the alcohol and the drugs.
What you're talking about, and it's hypo or something. There's a bipolar where you're just kind of manic sometimes, but you don't really have the depression. And a lot of successful men, first of all, we don't really have our depressed swing if you're bipolar until you're like in your 20s.
Right.
So you see a lot of doctors or overachievers, all of a sudden they're like, what the hell happened to him? Oh, he's been manic for
Right.
15, 20 years.
Right.
But then there's John Gruden's an example, probably a bad example now. I just don't sleep a lot.
Right.
And they're like,
that's me. And that's me. I wanted to throw that in there. That was part of the diagnosis. You know, why aren't you sleeping so much? Like I said, like I would wake up. You know, I thought that was just me training myself as an individual to be ready for anything that happened. You know, I grew up in a neighborhood where, you know, somebody may touch your door. You know, God bless me for, you know, for them to respect me enough never to do me, you know, never to try me, but I was ready.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I have to, it took me a long time as a man to just sleep, to just rest. It's a difference between sleep and rest. And my doctor explained to me that I wasn't resting. I was sleeping, you know, and if you don't sleep, it's something wrong. If you're not resting, it's something wrong with you as a mate.
Yeah, you gotta take some time to
Yeah, you gotta-
decompress.
yeah.
Oh, no, trust me, it's
Yeah.
easier for me, and then what happens is, well, let me ask you this.
Part spiritual, part natural. Go ahead. Well, that's another conversation. Go ahead.
Two, what is your just out of curiosity, Tuesday night, what are you doing? Just like at 6 or 7?
Me?
Yes.
I'm studying. I'm getting off and I'm transitioning into studying.
Okay, because I always ask people, the people who go home and do nothing at 5 or 6,
No.
I just
don't
can't
know what it is
understand
to do
that.
Nothing. Because me, I'm so goal oriented, even though I'm a licensed general contractor and I work from, as soon as I leave here, I'm going to the job. I got men on the site working, they pulling up right now on the site. As soon as I get off, I'm going to study for my home inspector's license. Immediately. Yeah, because I'm a licensed general contractor, but I want that home inspector's license.
How do you guys digest people telling you, I don't have nothing to do?
Okay, I don't understand it. You
I'm
might-
like, why?
Alright, the pandemic, right, hit, locked everybody down, and people in the house, well, I'm about to go crazy, I don't have nothing to do. And I'm saying, well, what about the baseball? What
Yeah.
about, you know,
Yeah.
what, so my thing is, and see, this is what's getting us where we are today in the community, is the nothing to do.
Mhm.
And that's not true.
Right.
Oh, look, I mean, a long time ago, I think in the 50s, the president of Harvard said, they created the Harvard Classics. And I think every library, our library had them, that if you read these 50 books, you would get a better education than Harvard.
Mhm.
The public library's open.
Right.
It's empty.
Alright,
Right.
put a period right there. Mr. Davis, how many people that you work with got reading issues, challenges?
I have young men that come to me all the time. The ones that work with me at this point are up to speed and pretty much educated guys. The 3 new ones, because like I said, I hire guys every day.
Mhm.
You know, anybody that call me, I'm probably gonna get a call as soon as and I'm gonna be like, where you at? It not meaning to skip subjects, but it was funny to me. The last 2 guys that called me, they said, Mr. Davis, we heard you on the radio and we just want to know, can we get a job? And I said, well, where are you? You know, text me your address. And they text me the address and I said, when do you want to work? And he said, well, you know, whenever you need me. I said, I'm at your door right now. You know, I was,
Yeah.
I was out south while he was calling me.
Mm-hmm.
And I bent on, he sent me the address, I kept talking to him until I got to Southwell Road. He lived on, I'm not gonna say his address, but
Yeah,
right on
yeah.
Southwell Road. And his mom was just, she thanked me every time she comes to pick him up from work. Young guy, 20. And it's just an amazing feeling, and he's an intelligent young man, very intelligent young man. His dad is a police officer.
My point, Brett, is my experience over the 40 years is reading is one of the challenges.
Yes.
Oh, no.
And then when people have roll these programs out now, they say, well, okay, I got this job for you. 99% of the job now that's hiring, when you walk in the door, they got a computer sitting there.
Right.
That's your application.
Right.
No.
Now, if I can't read, I'm already intimidated. Am I right, Mr. Davis?
Exactly.
Then I'm not gonna go back, and I don't want people to know that I don't.
Right.
So we got to deal with the grassroots issues up under there. You have to guide people. I worked with a young man one time that came to us. He didn't even know his address. Okay?
Wow.
When I realized that his job for the next 2 weeks was to simply write his address, telephone number, zip code, and then within 2 weeks, you should have,
They're just fundamentals.
looked at that. So my point is, when people pretend like they don't know how to reduce crime, we don't know whatever, you got to go down to the bottom,
Exactly.
deal with the basics. And I say it again in all love, when we having these meetings and these summits, these people that's committing this crime, Mr. Davis, they're not in these summits.
Right.
No, I mean, this is my problem with all that, and you hit it, and people don't understand, if you can't read or you have dyslexia or something like that in the 1st or 2nd grade and it's not identified and you're told, you just think you're an idiot. and then you get hostile, and that anger starts addressing.
Right.
Yeah, yes, and because, I'm not as smart as everybody else, you just dealt a different hand.
Right.
You have to process differently.
Right.
My brother, who's a preacher in Nashville, he's ADHD, and, he's that type of person who'll walk out in a conversation, doesn't know he's doing it. But he just has to process things differently, and he's had to learn that. That's where some of these violent trends can be addressed early on. But the problem I have with the summits, everybody says the great things, well, we don't want to like everybody else. I'm fine with that. I've always said we need a carrot and a stick philosophy. Here's what, and I want y'all's opinion on this. In youth court, I could tell you, this kid got picked up at 13, doesn't have a stable household. This is our 4th time. To me, that's when the system needs to jump in. But people don't want the system jumping in at that point. And because at some point, were you prejudging him? Or, statistically.
What system should jump in? DHS?
Whatever it is.
The $96 million, if we can get that $96 million back, I can help you.
Right.
Well, I understand that, but what I'm saying, is the community going to be acceptable to say, we've either got to take this child out of this environment? Because we don't have that mechanism.
Is motivation. Let me tell you something. In the Better Men Society, we have a program. It's called Books Over Bullying.
Okay.
We have our own tables. We put tables on the back of the trucks. We drive into these impoverished communities, like my own, Vernon Edition.
Okay.
We drive into the communities. I can show you footage of these young people. Young people from 6 years old. These are the same young people who parents who at Walton Elementary and Powell Middle School, they're having trouble reading.
Okay.
We pull up on them with tub full of books, tables. We stretch the tables out, put the books down, and tell them that we're gonna give them $2 for a small book, $5 for a medium-sized book, and $10 for a big book.
To read it.
To read it
Hello.
to us.
Okay.
And they begin to read like like the first time we do it, they may only read one book, but then they take that hunger and go home and practice,
And then
so they can read 2 books.
And that is
The next time we come, we tell them we coming back Wednesday. We come on a Monday, we tell them we coming back Wednesday. By the time Wednesday comes, they've been home practicing reading, and they're quicker in 2 days. They
Yeah.
can read 2 books in 2 days, and they have to read aloud to one of the Better Men Society brothers that are there. And before the week is out, or the next, we just keep doing it until that baby boy or that baby girl, they will read all day for that cheese.
And when I say environment, I'm not talking about their neighborhood. I'm talking about their home. If they're sitting there with an addict for a mother, father, or an alcoholic that's not at least functional, what should we do as a society? Because we are smart enough to say this is A, B, C, D, and E.
And I'm talking about a motivation.
I understand that, but I don't think a motivation problem would address that, or maybe I'm wrong. Like I said, there's some kids who don't have assets,
Right.
which you're addressing. But what I'm saying is, we know that environment is toxic.
You can't change all of it at one time.
Right.
Correct.
What you do is, see, in the old days, in the African American community, in the community, you had a gentleman that shoed horses.
Mm-hmm.
In most cases, you had a gentleman that had the car. Because when we got 6th grade, you couldn't just run outside. We didn't have a car.
Mhm.
So Uncle so-and-so had the car. You call him, he come take your family to the doctor and whatever. We done lost that in the community. All right? Now, if you got a young person, a child, the church has always been the most important organization in structure. All right? If you got a church and you got a reading program in the church, if the child attends church or if it's in a different church, that person, the child, can gravitate and go there to that. In the black community now, the problem is it doesn't exist.
Right.
Period. Where's the black grocery store? Now, I can't get food
Right.
and clean drinking water, but the rest of it is a wrap.
Well, I understand that, but now let's be honest though. You don't have local white grocery stores anymore.
No. Okay, look, let's slow it down. And we're not going to finish this conversation there.
Okay.
Okay, when you find out that you don't have it, that's an opportunity for somebody. So now, if I know today we don't have a black grocery store in Vernon Edition, and keep in mind, most of the church doors is what? Closed.
Yeah.
Beyond.
Yeah.
You can put a store in most of these churches, right?
But what I'm saying is, I understand what you're talking about. You need small businesses and you need to invest in the community.
No, you need whatever it is in order for you to survive. We rely today, and I said okay, a friend come to town, come to Jackson,
Okay,
and we gonna take him out.
okay.
Where you gonna take him, Mr. Davis?
You can't.
No, yes, you are. You gonna take him to Pearl?
Okay.
You gonna take
You
him to
right, you
Madison?
right, you
Yeah.
right.
You gonna take him to
I
Clinton?
thought you meant in Jackson.
Yeah,
I
no,
thought you meant in Jackson.
Okay, I'm gonna say it again. And what you do after that, you say, well, oh, okay, we don't have a nice place.
Right,
So you build one.
right.
well, no, I mean,
And then,
Go ahead.
my point is, when it comes to our different communities, you know, we're talking about the children. You know, African American children, we are motivated by comfort and money. You know, and you know, the white community is more motivated. I mean, they're motivated differently. I'm gonna say that. You know, I mean, you could talk to white children and you could ask them what they want to be. You know, and you know, like being a doctor is something that they think about. You know, we have African American children that are the same way, but I'm saying a lot of our children are motivated differently.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Now, you lost me a little bit. I'd like you to expand. I mean,
I mean, yeah, I opened that door and I closed it real
Yeah.
fast because we can't finish it.
Okay, I
And
understand.
let me do this, and we're not gonna finish. it,
Right.
But we're exactly where I wanna be.
Right.
With respect to where I'm trying to go.
Mhm.
All right, hang on a second. I'm gonna move, cause what I saw happen at WPR is amazing to me. Hang on, just, no, don't
No,
move.
but you were here. Let you introduce her.
No, I'm gonna move. She can introduce herself.
Okay, okay.
She can talk to her.
Okay.
Hey, look, and don't nobody over here need no support. I'm this young lady and Mr. George and I were sitting here, just like we are now, and Saturday. And I saw her come up in here and just boom. And I'm saying, man, I've been doing radio forever. And then within a week or two, you did the same thing. Now, watch how this works. Yeah.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. How are you doing
Good
today?
morning. My name is Sarah Jackson. I own my mental health business, Baby House LLC. I am a licensed chaplain. I was driving in from getting off of work like you guys do, and was listening to the conversation. And I saw each one of myself in each one of you. Because again, like you were sharing your story about how it's not about your job, because we are not defined by our status. We're not defined by what we do. It's about the individual. You were saying, hey, you know, I want to break down superstition. I want to break down, just get to the core of what's on the inside. That, hey, these are my struggles. I'm not defined by my struggles. I'm just open up to let you know that, hey, I'm a
I
human
have
being.
some, right.
That I'm real.
Mhm.
I'm a mental health specialist, and I tell people that, hey, I'm a survivor of sexual abuse.
Right,
You know, even though that person, you know, I came out and I shared it to let people know that, hey, I'm not perfect.
right,
My imperfections, it was a struggle, it was a journey to show up,
right.
just to wake up. And we all do different things in order to deal with that. And you'll be amazed, like you're saying, you know, that, like I say, in your arena and what you do in your arena, what you do. But the backdrop behind all of that, and then when I was listening in this morning, I was psychoanalyzing you down. I was like, wow, that's me and that's me
Right,
in the male version.
right.
Because people don't understand that where's your support system? They expected you to be that stronghold, to be that threshold, that
It
cornerstone
never breaks.
that never
Right.
breaks. But you have feelings
Exactly,
that you know when you get frustrated, you want to be allowed to open that up,
exactly.
not to be judged by, not to be
No, let me step out for a minute.
and from
I'm
your
just-
diversity, you know, really don't give two snaps about it.
Yeah.
Because it is what it is, it ain't what it ain't.
Right,
I'm
right.
from Memphis, Tennessee, you know, and it's just like, you've been there, I've been on both sides. Good education, good background, people look at the color of your skin and they judge you. Being a female chaplain here in Mississippi, been South for 2 years. Because a lot of people don't want no outspoken
Female.
female behind their pulpit. You know,
How
we
dare
thrown
you.
out of churches because of what? The lifestyle I was living at that time. You know, So coming from big cities, like I got here, I was silent. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna do this for myself.
Yeah, but don't feel
I
alarmed. My
don't,
apostle is a woman.
I
had a
don't feel that
female
at all.
apostle.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, I'm
She
just
cannot
sharing
be
to
shut down.
connect with you guys
Yeah.
that,
Mhm.
you know, I am my brothers and my sisters keeper.
Amen.
So when God blessed me to go in business for myself, I didn't get no PPE loan,
Right,
No.
you
Right.
know. So the business started at home,
right.
reaching out to colleagues, you know. People understand, you went to seminary, you was in the military, this. Yeah, I wore many clothes, but guess what? I was still suicidal at times.
Mhm.
Come from a broken home,
Right,
mom with a fourth
right.
grade education, you
Right.
know. They picking cotton out and illustrating that, but the abuse was still there.
Mhm.
Right.
So kudos to you guys for just letting people know that, hey, you know, don't judge a book by its cover.
Right, right.
You know.
Thank you so much for coming. And I think they gave you the wrong name. You said your name was Shy?
That's my real name. See, that's your life.
Nothing shy about you.
Yeah, hey, you know, that's my
Beautiful
real name.
Beautiful name. But I'm saying you are not shy by a long shot. You heard it.
Well, let me ask you this, coming from Memphis, did you see a difference in mental health awareness from Memphis to Jackson, Mississippi, or is it about the same, or how did you experience that?
Actually, I didn't get into mental health seriously until 5 years ago
Okay.
when I completed seminary. We're working at the Dallas VA in the Veteran Hospital in Dallas, Texas. And being there, working with the veterans and those with PTSD and those with different chronic things they were going through, that's when it started to evolve. And that's when it started to get into.
What is the common issue you see that people do not want to address?
They're in denial. They're in
Denial.
denial.
Right.
Denial is everything. You know, I met a young lady this week that said she was sad and all that. Because I've been around and dealt with it so much,
Mhm.
I know it's like I don't want it in my personal life, but on a professional aspect, I know that when you've been in something for so long, it's just like you've been a junkie, you know another junkie.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a
Yes.
spirit, it's an energy,
Right,
Yeah.
right, right.
discernment of that.
Yeah.
Right.
So you know that. But I'm not here to judge. A lot of people, they try to hide it. It's just like, I see that before I see the person.
Oh,
So tell me,
go ahead.
how do you deal with the interaction portion of it? Because as being a founder of the Better Men Society, I give myself to so many people during the day. At the end of the day, I have to sit down and recharge. All of myself is gone. You understand what I'm
It's
saying?
like it's like, you know, spiritually, it's like the cup is like half full, you
Mhm.
overflow.
Mhm.
You have to make time for yourself. Because if
Exactly.
you don't love yourself, how can you function for someone else?
Exactly.
How can you, your authentic self, show up every day?
Exactly.
I meditate.
Mhm.
I'm spoiled. I am so spoiled. I love me.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna take that time a cup is falling off,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna set it to the side. I got to sit in a patient last night. I had like four or five jobs. However, I'm gonna make time for shine. So I don't go.
I ain't gonna lie, so I
You
ain't
know,
gonna
you
turn the
have to
phone
do
on.
that because honestly, when you're not sleeping at night and your
Mhm.
mind is not at rest and it's
Mhm.
constantly racing,
Mhm.
that part of you, think about what kind of version are you giving to those people that you're trying to help.
Mhm.
You just as messed up as they are.
Mhm.
You have to scale back,
Mhm.
put those people that you know, your team together,
Mhm.
let them do the work, and you spend that time with you, that time with God, your center. Because if you're not eating and taking care of yourself,
Right.
then that version of you is gonna show up, that messy part of you that's tired and brain constantly going.
Mhm.
Tell your mind to just quiet down.
Mhm.
Find things, fall in love with your first love. Those are things you used to do that you used to love.
Mhm.
I love poetry, I love writing.
Yeah, me too.
So what are some of the
Me
things
too.
that you used to do?
No, wait, before you go, you open this conversation,
Go
you was
ahead, go
analyzing
ahead.
us. Go
Go
ahead,
ahead.
drop what you heard. I wanna hear, I wanna hear a different perspective. What did you hear when each of us talked? When
Oh
you
my
said,
goodness.
Go ahead.
Oh man, I mean, basically you guys are, first of all, you men, and it's coming from the male standpoint. Basically you guys are just saying that, hey, I'm human, I'm here.
Okay.
You want the world to know, don't judge me by my skin color, don't, because I'm a man of a different race, it doesn't matter, I'm still a man at the end of the day.
Mhm.
I have family, I have people that depend on me.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? My mom and my dad, I have lost. I lost
Right,
something.
right,
A part of
right.
me is still grieving.
Mhm.
When you open yourself up to be judged.
Mhm.
And it's like you have to defend that.
Mhm.
My attitude is how I deal with it, I don't care. You like it, you like it, you don't, you don't.
Exactly.
And it came to be a part of that because when I was depressed and suicidal
Mhm.
and ready to jump, there was nobody there to say, hey, Shy, don't do it, girl, stop.
Yes,
No.
right.
When you're in the trenches, and I know Brene Brown, one of her best books that she wrote, when you're in the trenches and there's no one there, you have to snap back into your reality and tell yourself, hey, I can do this.
Right.
Because those people that were sitting there, they're gonna talk about you, they not there when you sitting there drinking yourself to death, or you wanna put a gun to your head playing Russian roulette.
And that's what
The pain is real. And when you're in your darkness, that is when your source, whether it be God or your understanding,
Right.
or whatever it is, to snap you out of that moment. Because a lot of people that commit suicide don't come back.
Welcome to the show. Do you have a question or comment?
Comment. Once again, I'm just loving 90.1 and, you know, the content that 90.1 disseminates into the community. People are not have not been in the past, having these kind of discussions and conversations. And I think it's important, and I think it's liberating, and I think it's healing all at the same time that, you know, we have these kind of conversations because I know this life in this land will bring people to their knees, strong people to their knees, depending on, you know, the Achilles tendon that people are carrying around as individuals, you know. Life will bring you to the point of breaking, but I've been there, sis, you know, brother, I've been there.
Thank you so
And
much.
most people have. Sometimes I look one way and I'm feeling another, but I tell
Right.
anybody this, my technique, and I deal and battle with suicide, have dealt with it quite a bit.
Right.
But my technique is this, okay, I'm here today, right?
Right.
So if I take myself out of the picture, you know, I got children that are vulnerable and I love them, I adore them, then, you know, I give up on me if I do that. So then I tell myself, you know, let me give it 20 minutes.
Right.
Let me give it an hour.
Right.
And if I still feel that same way, I still got that option.
Right.
But a lot of times, if you give it that time and then you think about the people, a lot of times it's people, not necessarily the circumstance, that have gotten in the way that have you feeling like that. If you give it some time and then ask yourself, is this rascal right here that's causing me all these problems, are they in tears right now?
Right. So your advice,
If they not in
so
tears,
your
why?
advice is to don't be impulsive.
All right, thank you. We got to get one more call.
Thank you.
All right, so.
Well, Robert, when he's trying to get another call on, if anybody wants to contact you, how do they do that for general contracting purposes?
601-503-6168. Again, I'm the founder of the Better Men Society. I have the same number for all three contacts. I'm the founder of the Better Men Society, 601-503-6168. I am the owner of Immaculate Home Care and the owner of Robert Davis Construction. If you need any general contracting, our motto for
Hello?
Immaculate Home Care is we do everything from the root to the roots.
Hello?
And for
Hold on,
Robert Davis
Pastor.
Construction, we are the company that has definitely done the most dirty. So,
Now, Shy, I've got some follow-up questions as an ex-youth court prosecutor, but if people want to talk to you and get some counseling, how do they do that?
Well, we're doing it on the radio waves. They can do it out on air every Saturday from 9 to 10. Baby House, the talk show. Basically, if they want to get in contact with 601
George, you don't know what's going on with this phone this morning.
If you can do it by telehealth, by phone, or through
Hello?
you can call in. Only call in for those that actually seek to get help. You know, I don't, because of the pandemic and because of life being so real, I do not waste my time speaking with the client, because immediately you walk into the room, or
Hello?
so if you truly want help.
right,
Because right now, we cater to those that do not have with or without insurance.
right.
So there is no excuse for reason why you do not want to get help, because everything's confidential. Deal with HIPAA and everything that makes it, so there's no reason for it. Again, 601-500-1835, that's Baby House.
Okay, I don't know about Ms. Shy, I don't wanna volunteer her, but if, like, my brother was saying here, if you have an emergency, you know, if you're